Good. All right. Okay. Where do I want to be? Hold on. Well, good morning. Um, we'll go ahead and get started. What is 9:16, 9:15? So we just go ahead and get started. Brother Finley is not here today. He's over at another congregation, and he asked me to stand in again today. So hopefully, y'all won't throw rocks at me this morning. And I'm going to uh, go into Psalms 39, 139 today. I don't know if we may not finish it, but this is something that one of my studies I did, and I thought it might be something to share with you. So if you can, and I'm gonna do. Hopefully, we go through 1 through 10 or 11, or is it 12? Yeah, down to verse 12. And I doubt if we get all the way through, but we're gonna read those anyway. Leave it out there in case people there. So, Brother Davis, if you would, what version are you using? Bible version? It's fine. I just want to know what version he's reading, so it doesn't matter. I just wanted to. I'm just curious. You have one? Okay, you have the mic? Yeah. Did he give you the mic? Yes, Psalms 139, 1 through 10. Yeah. If you have it, go ahead and read it if you have it.
Testing. Okay. Psalms 139, verse 1 through 10. Lord, you have stretched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Lord. You have encircled me. You have placed your hand on me. This wondrous knowledge is beyond me. It is lofty. I am unable to reach it. Where can I go to escape your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to heaven, up to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Shiloh, you are there. If I fly on the wings of the dawn and settle down on the western horizon, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold on to me. I've just read Psalms chapter 138, verses 1 through 10.
Okay. All right. David is like. Let me go back and go this way. A lot of times, I'm speaking from personal, that you think people know who you are, and when you find out that people's not really looking at you, they have opinions or they see you, and what we see is out of these two lamps our eyes, and we always see this way. We never see ourselves as other people see us. And I don't know about you, but sometimes, most of the time, we have perception on how we are. Okay, how we are and how we present ourselves. But then other folks have another look at you that tells you that what you see, how you see yourself, is not how the world is looking at you. And so David right here is going to the Lord, because David have, from perspective of other folks, this is said that it may be why he wrote this and why he was kind of consulting God and going to God, because he knew God knew who he was. Because some had accused David of not being loyal, that he was more loyal to someone else than to God. And so David sat down and he wrote this psalm, this prayer, this song, to God. And so he was kind of looking at from that perspective. And so when I looked at this, I started thinking about, I said to myself, how do people perceive me? And then the question is, how do you think people perceive you? What do you think people are looking at when they look at you, when they see you? And so one of the things that David is saying is that he knows one person. He knows that the Lord Jehovah, the existent one, the only one, the true God, know who he is. And so he's saying several things. He makes 7 points in this thing. He said, Lord, you have searched me and you know me. And when we look at that, and when we look at ourselves, and when we think about it, we can sit down and look that it's only one that knows us. We don't really know ourselves, but it's only one that knows us. And then he comes back, and another point he makes, God knows all that he does and thinks. Talking about David. He knows all what David does and what he thinks. And his ways. The only person that knows his ways and know what he's going to do before he do it is God, is what he's saying. And he's saying God is all around me. God is before me. God is behind me. God is surrounded me. So God goes wherever he goes in his life. There's nowhere that he can go that God is not there with him. And then he said, he paused and pondered that such knowledge as God is beyond him. And when I look at it, I think about myself, and I think about what's going on with me, and I look at what people think about me, it's only one that really know me. And it's only one that really know you. And that's God himself. So when we look at these verses here, and then when he says, I want to kind of get into it a little bit, when he says, oh Lord, but the Lord he's talking about, he's saying, oh Lord Jehovah, the true God, the existent one. So he's calling upon the great I am is who he's calling to. He said, you have searched me. It's not that anybody else was saying that you know me. And then he goes on and say, you know when I sit and when I rise. So when I think about this, and when I look at myself and I think about everything, and as we all should, as we get up in the morning and as we start our day, it's only one that really knows the direction on which our life is going to lead us today. And that's God himself. And so he's saying that he has searched. And then what he's saying is, and what David is saying and celebrating, and y'all help me with this word because I get tired tongue with this, his omnipotences. Come on, omnipotency? Omnipotency. Yeah. Man, I get tired tongue with that word for foot. Well, I don't know why. But anyway, he he celebrates that, and then he talks about God omnipresent, which means that God is always present. God is always present. So let me ask you this. How many times, or how do you feel when you are, what's the word I'm looking for? When people don't understand what you're saying, and when people don't really know how you feel, when you try to express yourself, but they're not getting or not believing or understanding what you're saying, how does that make you feel? You know who you are, at least you hope you do. So how does that make you feel when someone gives you that feedback that says that, more or less like doubting that you don't even know who you are?
Well, me myself, I might feel embarrassed just at that moment. I might not have it expressed it where clearly where they would be able to understand it. Because if I was going to explain it to a little kid, I wanted to, do it simple and where he could he or she can understand it. So I myself, I would just feel embarrassed.
Okay. One, feel embarrassed. Anyone else? When you think about how you come across to folks and how people perceive you, you ever thought about that the perception that they have is not who you are? That you are really who you say you are, but they're not perceiving that? They are seeing something different out of their lamps? And no matter how hard you go and you try to share with them, whether they're young or old, and try to share with them that you are who you are, that this is me. And what's that old saying? What you see is what you get. And this is me, and this is how I carry myself. But then they have that opinion about you. So now you're thrown into a confused state. David went to someone that he knew who he is, knew him. He went to God because he said, you have searched me. You know me. You know who I am. You know me getting up. You know me sitting down. You know me. He's talking to God. Have you ever sit down and talk to God like that? Where you look back and say, God, you know me. You know my heart. You know what I'm trying to do or what I want to do. But why can't everybody else understand what I'm about? Do you ever go to God like that?
Brother Jones. Now, this was decades ago when I was incarcerated. Back in 1979.
Speak up a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I was incarcerated back in 1979, now I discovered something that I wasn't supposed to discover while being incarcerated. And when I tried to explain it to my uncle, he said to me, he said, "Oh, Nephew, you've been watching too many old Star Trek, Battle Galactica shows, man, you exaggerate, I said, no, I'm not exaggerating, man. I said, what I've witnessed and discovered, man, I wouldn't have believed it myself. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying, how do they punish their inmates? Kansas don't have that death penalty no more. They banned the noose. They didn't want the legal injection. Mm-hmm. So now they got what you call a device where the warden can place some transmitters
inside your brains and listen to your inner thoughts. So if you were going to do harm to an inmate, that warden he already has knowledge. All you got to do is carry out the act. You know, I'm gonna kill him today. So the warden sits in his office and wait for this event to happen. So this device right here is really kept undercover, highly secret, not classified. You know, they don't want you to know what's going on, just like Area 51. Yeah, it's 60 Minutes was talking about it, you know. I haven't reached out to them because since I have somewhat knowledge of what they're talking about, I probably could enlighten them. So, you know, and now back to my uncle, highly intelligent as he is, the position that he held in life, I thought maybe he would understand what I was sharing with him. But when he brushed me off, I felt like, it was almost like I was like Charlie Brown, you know. My head was down and I just walked away from it, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make you believe, but, you know, certain things you need to ask me besides degrading me and
Right.
making me feel like, hey, man, I'm nuts. I
Right.
don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's what I went through.
Yeah, we all of us in some shape or form have been where people have challenged who you are, or what your character is somewhere, you know. And I share this with you. When I was active in the fire service and I was traveling around the country, you know, taking exams for fire chief, and I was in this one, I don't know, could have been in Milwaukee, Illinois. I don't know where I was. I went to several places. But I was in this interview and they had this panel. And they asked me to tell them a little bit about me. And as I expressed myself, this gentleman up on stage, that one of the council persons or whoever he was, gonna tell me that that's not you. That's not you. That's not the real you. You know, so I asked him, so who do you think I am? You know, but it was kind of, you know, I was kind of drawn back from that, but that wasn't the first time I heard that people look at you and they say that. So David is saying the same thing when he was saying that people was misjudging him. But then if you allow that to set and if you allow yourself to be caught up in that and not go to the one that created you and not go to God himself, because he's the one that know who you are. And David went to the one that knew who he was, because David said that the fact of the matter is that you knew my past life. You know my future life. You're the one that created me. You know all about me. And so, and he said, not only that, you know when I'm ready to sit down, even before I'm ready to sit down. So he's going to God, letting him know that God knows what you're going to do. And so with that in mind, when I think about this, and when you are faced with people or faced with situations where things seem like they're going against you, and people are not understanding who you are, you always got one that knows who you are. And then he said that you all around me. Down in the verse, he said, you all around me, you before me and you behind me. And then he goes further down and then says, your spirit is always with me. Now, to give you an idea of what the spirit is, just to give you an example, I can use air as a spirit. Now, we breathe air. Air is in this room right now, but you cannot see it. But it's here. It's all around you, but it's here. And so with that in mind, what he's saying, your spirit is with me. And it's just like the air that we, just like this room that we sit in with the air, his spirit is with you. And that's what he's saying. No matter what they're saying about me, you are with me all the time. And so he says in verse 3, he says, you search out my path, my laying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. So God knows what we're going to do next before we do. He's acquainted with everything that we have. And so David is sitting here with the idea of understanding, knowing that God is the one that he can depend on, and everyone else, and these people that has these things that are they saying about him, he found someone that he knows. And so when I find myself when I find myself feeling lonely or kind of in doubt, I go back and I read this Psalms. And I read this Psalms because it's the one that brings me back to who I am and how I feel about it. And he says, and then he goes on to say, go back and said, you have searched me and you know me. And then he goes back, it's not just God knows everything. He knows you. He knows me, is what David is saying. You know me. Okay. How many of you in here really know you? Know yourself? Do you really know yourself? I need.
I said it's always changing as well as we grow and mature and grow stronger in Christ and have different experiences. We should be changing and transforming.
Right. We should be maturing. We should be growing, But with that said, do you know you?
I like what you said there, Brother John. Many times I say, I'm going to do this at that moment. Today, I'm going to do this. I'm going to accomplish this. Within a wink of an eye, I'm doing something else.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Let me pose this one.
Okay.
How many of us, anyone has ever been on a diet of some kind or something, and you say that I'm not going to partake of this particular thing, and you call yourself standing on the grounds that I'm not going to do it. But have you found yourself sometime during that day or during that experience craving or asking or wanting to take whatever it is you said you didn't want to do? Did you find yourself taking it or going to do it? But if you knew yourself and say you weren't going to do it and you knew you had the strength to do it, you wouldn't be going through those doubts. You wouldn't be going through those things. But as who we are, as flesh and blood, we haven't gotten there yet. What my point is, the only one that knows us or know about us is God. He knows what we're going to do. Sometimes we don't even know what we're going to do. We think we do. We plan out what we want to do. But sometimes those plans that we plan out don't always work the way we have them set up to work. However hard we try to do them, now a lot of times they do work out. But a lot of times they don't work out. And it's not just God has just created us or created things, but David is saying he has gotten specific. He had narrowed it down to himself. He excluded everything and everyone else. He went straight to him. So, what are you saying, Brother Jones? What I'm saying is, when we are at the point where we are having this discussion with God, when we asking God, knowing God, that he is, you know me, is that we are excluding everything and everybody else. We are zeroed in on ourselves, on this person. And when you zero in on this person, which is you, now you can focus in on where God is in your life. And God is the one that makes it. This is what he's saying. And then as we get down into where is it? Phone is acting up. Yeah, I was around verse 3 when I was saying about him and the men. Yeah, it's down there. So, like, you know it behind and before me. And then he said, such knowledge too wonderful for me. That's verse, I think that was verse 6. Yeah, that was verse 6. Yeah. And he said, I moved back up to 6 right now. He said, such knowledge too wonderful for me. It's too high. I cannot obtain it. So what is he trying to say right here? I'm in Psalms 139, verse 6 right now. So what is David is saying right now? What is he acknowledging to God? What is he saying to God? He's having a conversation. Even though he's praying, he's having a conversation with God. He's talking to God. And he made this statement. Such knowledge. What knowledge is he talking about? What knowledge is he talking about is too wonderful for him? It's too high. He can't obtain it. What knowledge is he talking about? He's talking to God, remember? Knows about him. Right. He knows that about him. So when we look at this, and when you sit down and as we journey through this journey of life, and as we go about our daily works, it's nothing that God don't know about us. Nothing that God don't know anything about us. You cannot hide from him. You can't do anything, because he knows, because of the knowledge that he has about you. And what's so wonderful about it is that it's individual. As many of us as in here, God knows you for who you are, knows everything about you. He knows when you want to get up from your seat to go do whatever you're getting ready to do. This is what David is saying to him. He said this knowledge, and it's so wonderful that I can't perceive all of this that you have, Lord. Lord Jehovah is what he's saying. He's showing how omnipotent that God is, how great and powerful he is. And I think sometimes we often don't remember how great and how awesome God really is. We don't really grasp his greatness and his holiness. We don't fully grasp it, because we see something or we do something and we don't understand it. But God is in control. Just like what's going on in the world, we can't grasp what's going on in the world today. Some of us are saying, why in the world is this happening? I can't understand it. Even though I can't fathom why somebody would even think like that. Why they would even operate like that. After the history, and then we come to this point, and then you're going to go backwards? I can't fathom that. But it's one that does. And so when we say, and when we pray, and we say we put all our thoughts and prayers, and we put our hands into your hands, Lord, you know what you're saying? You understand what we're saying now? Because he is the one that's controlling everything. And that's where he comes in verse 7. Where shall I go from your spirit, Lord? Where can I go from your spirit? Where can we go? Where can you go hide? You heard about old Jonah was trying to run from him, didn't you? And he jumped in the well and moved around for a few days, didn't you? But then when he decided to appear, or when God called him to appear, what happened? He was right there with him. So when you were in your badness, I'm gonna put it like that. No, when I was in my badness, when I was doing something I had no business doing, he was right there. He was right there, and he had that little nick on my shoulder to remind me that I was doing something I had no business doing. He was right there. And so there's nowhere that I can go, nowhere that you can go, that he's not there. He's always with you. But the thing is, and most of us and most people don't grasp, those that are still lost in the darkness, because it says down in here, and I don't want to get there, but I'm going to have to jump down here and come back. Since I said something about darkness, I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to have to come back up to the top. But since I said darkness, in 11, he said, if I say surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as day, for darkness is as light to you. So even if I went to the darkest, most darkest place that I could find, it's not dark to God. It doesn't matter where I go, wherever it is, it's light to wherever God goes. And so no matter where we go or however dark we get in our feelings, because somebody said, I'm in a dark place. You might think you're in a dark place, but it's daylight to God where you at. You may feel as though nobody's there but you, but God is sitting there right there with you. And so this is what David is saying right here. So wherever we are, so in those moments when I feel like I'm all alone and nobody cares and nobody, and I don't need nobody. Everybody say that? I don't need you. I don't need nobody. I don't know about you. I've said that several times. It used to be my favorite saying. Man, get away. I don't need you. But then as I grew, I don't say that anymore. Yeah, that just escapes me right now. Because I found out it's nothing that I can do by myself. And I'm not by myself. Even though I may utter the words, I'm not by myself. I'm always in the light. We just too, y'all pardon my English. We just too, yeah, we use your word, because I was going to use something different. We too naive to know. Yeah, I use yours. Yours is better. That we are there in the dark. But if we, in those dark times in our lives, if we just remember that we are in the light, that we are in that with God, so it's not dark where we are. Jonah found that out in the well. When he got out, he was still given instructions to do what he was told to do. And just like when we go into our little episodes and come out of them, you know you're going to do what you were supposed to do from the very beginning. Even though we tried to run and hide and bury ourselves in our own little thing, we're still going to do the same. We're still going to do what God had planned for us to do. That's one thing I have learned, that I may run from him. I may do all those things, but when he catches up, or when I sit down, or when he put me down, more or less, and ain't me sitting down, is when he put me down, when he had enough of my foolishness, then I end up doing what I was supposed to have been doing in the first place. But then I found out something else with that. if I had have done it the first time, it may have seemed difficult. But I tell you, the time when he makes me do it, I should have done it the first time. It was a lot easier to do then, because that time is hard. And pray to God you complete that mission that time, because if you don't do it then and he comes back and gets you a second time, it's going to be even harder. Yep, it's going to be even harder to do it. The reason why I'm saying that, I walked that road. That's why I'm saying it. I walked that road. I walked that road. And then he says, and then the other one that I like, what he says, is that you understand my thoughts from afar off. You understand my thoughts from afar off. What does that mean to you, what he said, what David is saying right there? What does that say to you? Yeah? Okay. Okay. But he said, you. Remember who he's talking to now. He's talking to God. He said, you understand my thoughts from afar off. It doesn't matter the smallest aspect of everyday activities, or the smallest aspect of what's going on in your mind, the smallest aspect of that thought that you have, or that word, or that sentence, or that emotion that you display. God understands it before you do. And sometimes he'll open the door for you to pick up on it. Sometimes you have to go through the door to discover it for yourself. Sometimes we have to go through the door to discover what it means. What are you talking about, Brother John? I tell you, I don't know if this fits, but I'm going to use it anyhow. I remember when I was a little boy and I got in trouble. And my mom, bless her heart, she didn't spare the rod, okay? She used to get these switches, I call them whips. She used to get these whips, get these switches, and used to, get on the backside. And, I don't know about y'all, but, you be hopping around and say, I'm not going to do it no more. Remember them sayings? I'm not going to do it no more. And then, she ain't never, you figure that would slow it down? That speeds it up. And then you say, I'm not going to do it no more. And then she continues to do that. But somewhere along that line, somewhere in that conversation, while you getting whipped and you hollering, trying to get her off you, she comes up with this she came up with this word, or this sentence that sticks to me today. And that said, I know you're not going to do it no more. You know why you're not going to do it no more? She didn't say that, but after years of going through and understanding, because I'm putting something on you to remind you that if you do it again, you're going to see this again. So what I'm saying is, God put that there because sometimes he let us go through stuff, and we go through some trials, we go through some deep stuff, and he understands our thought from afar off, that maybe we think we understand it or we got it together, and God already had said he doesn't or she doesn't have it just yet. So we have to go through something, so I'm going to have to allow him to go through this a little longer, or I'm gonna have to press as the wine press. I'm gonna have to press this olive just a little bit more, so I can make sure they understand what's going on in their lives. This is what David is telling him about this. And so he even goes on, I got to wrap this up. He said, he even goes along and says, God knows every word on my tongue. Every word on your tongue. The words that come out, what did, what's that boy name that played in with Jackie Chan? You understand, Chris Rock, Chris Tucker? You understand the words that come out of my mouth? God knows the words that's going to come out your mouth before you say it. Now, as I wrap up, there was a long time ago. This was a long time ago. I was fresh out the military, running around on the streets, and just got out, wild, crazy, been over Vietnam, so all the sense was shot away. And so I was going around. I had a mouth that wouldn't quit. I thought it was just regular language, because that's the language I used for the years that I was in the military and everywhere else. It was just that language, And someone told me, it was a guy who walked to me and shook his head and said, you got the foulest mouth I've ever heard. And I did, what? But then, that was one thing I got down and I prayed about. And I asked the Lord to fix that tongue. Fix that tongue of mine. It took a minute. But he fixed that tongue, because a lot of times you want to say something. Okay, I don't anymore, but a lot of times people think I want to say something, but it's not there. Now, I'm not going to say I'm fully 100% fixed, because somebody catch me wrong or catch me quick, part of it may slip before I catch it. But he got that tongue, because I asked him to. He knew he got that tongue before I asked him, when I asked him to get that tongue. So, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm really thankful for it. I don't care about what somebody else does. It's about me. And so that's why I looked at this psalm right here, and I don't know if you was grasping what I was saying. This is, when I'm looking at this, I'm not thinking about David making this prayer or this psalm. I'm thinking about me saying this. I'm talking about me using this psalm. I'm saying to myself, when I'm praying, I'm looking at, they say read it as David. No, this is, Lord, this is John. This is John. Lord Jehovah, this is me. This is John. You search me, Lord. You're talking about me. And so I'm looking at me. When I'm looking at this song, all this stuff refers to me. And when you look at this and you take this in and understand what he's saying and what he was grasping at, man, it's so beautiful, and understanding how awesome our God is. I know you know how awesome he is to you, but when you really sit down and think about that he builds a hedge around you, he protects you, that he knows who you are, that he lay hands on you, that guides you through the darkness, that even when you're in the darkness is light. When you find yourself in the darkest place in your life, that is light, because he's with you. When you find that you are all alone, or you think you're all alone, you're not all alone. When you're going through those trials and tribulations, you think you're going through a rough time, you got somebody going through that time with you, because he is going through that time with you. And to you, you are wonderful to me. You are great to me. You are beautiful to me, because you are my God. That's who he is. And that's the way I feel about it. Excuse me? Yes, sir. Right. 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 And you know what really drove me to this point, and when I really started, because I started reading the Psalms and really in Vietnam, really. But it was when they used to shoot rockets and, bombing rockets. And there was a song out that I heard before I went in, and I don't know who made it, but it was a song that said, nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. When they start dropping them, they shooting them in and they falling out the sky, and they falling down, exploding all around you, there was nowhere I could run. Nowhere that I could hide, because no matter if I went over there, it was going. One day, and I'm going to stop. One day I ran 40 miles. I didn't, but it felt like it. I ran 40 miles in a 2-square area because they was dropping them just that fast around me. Because every direction I went in, there was one dropped. And it's like, it was just something else. But he kept me. It was almost like I was in a bubble. So yeah, I was there. And I know some was worse than what I talked about, because the firefights was worse than that. But anyway, that was I think our time is up. I hope you shared something with you that give you something to think about in that. So Brother Finley should be here next week on that. So can we have a dismissal prayer? Ivory, would you please, sir? Amen. All right. We're going to have church today. How many were you here last night? Oh, we had a good time last night. I'm understanding some of those folks may be here today and worship with us. So get